That's what Red Bull attempting to accomplish. brotherpolight 45 at gmail.com. Let's go back to the metaphysics of success. Part of the metaphysics of success is definitely having a powerful black woman give you the support. All right, and we're gonna tie it in. Let's really get to the work. Let's really do some work here, right? Can you hold this for me real quick?
Okay.
Great. Great. Let's get to work. Let's really get to work. All right. So. All right. Now I'm excited.
Oh my
My
goodness.
hands free. Hands free.
You doing too much.
Nah, let's go. Nah, hands free. So now I can really get it in. So let's do this. Part of the metaphysics of success is to always have a supporting cast of women, to preference black women, helping you with your goals. Okay, when it comes to men and women, one is the motivator, one is the activator, right? So we know sex can be a motivational piece, right? That is activated by way of the woman. So we know that one is the motivator and one is the activator. It's a fact. One is the motivator, one is the activator. And we get interchange these roles. But understand, male and females play that role. We look at a battery, we know one side is negative and one side is positive. But let's take a look at the woman who's considered a female, and we know the woman is a man with a womb, right? She's the womb man, or the man is one without. Let's do it like that, because we know everybody has to pass through a woman before it's ordained if they'll even become a man during the gestation process. We understand this. So let's move forward. A female, if we're going to periodic table of elements, Fe equals what? Iron. So we know she's an iron male. And therefore we've also been able to come to the conclusion scientifically that females traditionally are created when there's more iron available in contrast to zinc. This is just what it is. So it's no coincidence that Fe on the periodic table of elements equals iron. Fe equals iron. And therefore, it's hinting at something. It's the iron female, because women demand more iron than men do. Facts. Even when you look at their cycle and they go through their discharge and their menstruation, they need to replace the iron, very much so. With the right amount of iron that a woman takes in, it makes her even more magnetic in quality. More magnetic. And black women demand more iron than any other women. So it's just very interesting to see the Fe iron. Let's go back to the heart, because we're always in love with this black woman. When we establish a perfect union and harmony with the black woman, we become more magnetic in property as a union, and also separate when we go our ways. But let's continue to think about this. So now that we know Fe is iron, she's the iron female, and it hints at the fact that she needs more iron. Why is iron more important, or so important for this particular model? Well, now we go to the heart, and we know that it is a conscious seat. We know that the vagus nervous system is a set of nerves, or a network of nerves that connects the heart with the brain. We know that the brain in its inception is made up of relatively the same thing as a heart for the most part as far as neurons is concerned, because when you come into this world, there's over 40,000 neurons. The culmination of these neurons, 40,000 plus in number, creates the heart. So we know the heart is a form of a brain that's also connected to the brain by way of the vagus nervous system. We understand all these different things. We also know that it's more magnetic and it's more electric, thousands of times over than the heart. So we know that it conveys to the heart what to do for the rest of the body. So we either can be brain conscious or we can be heart conscious. Being brain conscious is a contradiction, but this society teaches us to do so. We have to learn how to be heart conscious. We know that ancestors called the heart Ib, which means mental or intellect. We know they weighed the heart against a feather on the scale of Ma'at during the Hall of Justice in the afterlife. And we know that is like saying mind over matter, technically. When you think about it, when you weigh it on the scale, if you become more physical or more mental when you leave this planet. Very empowering information. But what we're going to do now is say that what does the heart do on a regular scale? What does the heart do? It pumps blood. And this blood is made up of what? Hemoglobin and all this other stuff, iron. And then what happens with the iron? Well, anytime metal goes through a circumambulation, particularly iron, just like the planet Earth, that circular format or narrative, that direction, that facilitation causes electricity, causes an EM field. And you can't have electricity without magnetism. You can't have magnetism without electricity. So we create an electromagnetic thing about ourselves. Just like with the planet Earth, at the center, we know that there is metal at the core. And the spinning of the planet Earth creates an EM field, or creates what's called the magnetosphere. So you are a microcosm of the planet Earth, and you too create a magnetic field around you. But your magnetic field is precipitated by the way that you think. And when you get excited about ideas, it causes your heart to beat differently, which means it impacts your electromagnetivity. What does all this mean? Your consciousness creates a magnetism based on what? What you think. So it's called time cell perception. The way you think causes your heart to collapse upon itself a certain way. That if you think more intensely, you create a certain type of algorithm. It's called alphabetical symmetry, all right? Which causes the heart to collapse upon itself, which makes waves both multiply and subtract itself, add and subtract itself simultaneously. This is called recursion, right? So recursive waves are created, and then a mandible set is produced when your heart collapses upon itself accurately, right? When you really focusing on creating goals or ideas, your heart will collapse on itself in specific formations that makes the waves recursive, that both add and multiply, I should say, pardon me, both add and multiply. These are recursive waves, and then in turn it creates what's called a mandible set, which looks like an actual heart. Now, this is not the Kiki where you love me dance. This is the image of the heart. We know the heart doesn't look like this. We know that the actual heart, the heart does not look like this, that shape. But we know the electromagnetic pulse that comes from your heart when it properly collapses on itself through phase conjugation and coherent heart frequency. We know that there's an electromagnetic wave that's shaped like the heart that leaves from the heart that doesn't look like it. So how did our ancestors know that's how the heart looks? That's another conversation. But understand this: the fact that the heart pumps blood, the fact that the heart is the facilitator of consciousness, the fact that iron being circulated creates your EM field, tells us that your magnetism is predicated upon how strong your thought process is and what exactly you think about. So